So next up, we have our duo release of Final Fantasy II characters, with the main villain making his debut, the Emperor, and our main protagonist getting his EX Plus, Firion. I know I say up next, and this video just is coming out after Yuffie and Bartz got released. I apologize for being late. It's been a very hectic week, as why I can only find the time to do this recording while I'm sitting in the car next to my wife while she's driving. Anyway, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. We're going to jump in straight with the verdict for the Emperor. I believe the Emperor is important. And going forward with these videos, we're going to just kind of keep up the short summary style. I feel like going into all the nitty-gritty details is always something that I'm bound to forget, and I know I definitely shouldn't, but I just never really find myself mentioning certain things in the first place just because I forget to say them out loud. And I have a lot of people ask me, well, why don't you write down a script? This way you can just read off of it. I don't really like doing that because it makes me feel like it's just not... I feel like I'm a robot just reading off of the script. I like reading, I like talking and speaking from my mind. And that's exactly what I'm going to keep doing. So, speaking of the Emperor, I do 100% believe he's important for the Chaos Era. The DPS that he offers to the party is in forms of versatility because of his traps. Now, what each of his abilities will lay down a specific trap. His first skill will lay down a 4-hit single target HP attack that applies a speed down. His second skill will apply a 4-hit AoE, 100% damage dealt to one target, 50% splash damage dealt to the other. While his EX will, all passives considered, and I say it like this because you need 3 out of 3 for it to be a 4-hit, will be a 4-hit AoE HP attack that does split damage to the enemy party. His EX trap also ignores defense, which is pretty cool. You know, just shooting straight through, doing damage and whatnot, which is pretty nice. You know, helps out a ton. His base skills are they do the job when it comes to damage, but most of his damage is going really derived from his traps. His first skill has 120% overflow. His second skill has 150% overflow into split damage to multiple targets. His EX, all passives considered, is a 6-hit AoE HP damage attack that applies all 3 of his trap debuffs all at the same time. And the great thing about the Emperor is if he currently has a trap that is active on the opponent, the trap will actually go off if you were reapplying that same trap, which is awesome. You're not wasting any traps. I like that a ton. It helps him out a lot. You know, you're not blowing through your abilities just haphazardly. You're actually using each of his abilities to the fullest, and I like that a ton. It has 200% overflow at max, and like I said before, it increases his EX trap to 4 hits and whatnot. I'm gonna be honest, I would really only say that the biggest downside to the Emperor is the fact that his HP attack plus is just a single hit HP attack. It's outdated. I mean, fucking Garland had that at the beginning of the Chaos Era, and it's still outdated as hell. And I can kind of understand why a character such as the Emperor got an HP attack like that just to balance his kit. But it's inexcusable at this point, Square. Stop giving it to us, please. What that really does, though, is it hurts the Emperor's longevity. Hurts the Emperor's longevity a bit, as you have to really utilize his skills most of the time, unless you're at max brave, and he has a pretty high max brave stat. So you're not really going to be finding yourself using that HP attack plus too many times, but I mean, it's still serviceable at most if you can find the time to use it. Considering that he only has about 15 skill usages, 9 from his first skill, 6 from his second skill. That sounds like a lot of skills on paper, but considering that you might have to blow through all of them to warrant not using that shitty HP attack plus, you know, you might find yourself running a little out of steam fairly quickly, and his EX has a relatively slow recharge rate. So you're definitely going to be finding yourself a time where you might need to utilize the HP attack plus a little often, and the damage might fall off just because it sucked. And his C65 increases attack by 30% when he's attacking an enemy with debuffs, which should be all the time. So yeah,
that's pretty much the rough summary of what makes Emperor great and the few things that I think is not so great about his kit. I would say his only other con is that he doesn't mesh too well with other debuffers. I believe his best friend is Neil. Neil only offers 3 debuffs. 3 debuffs: the attack down, max grade down, attack down and defense down. Sorry, as well as applying the debuff from her EX. So she only has 3 to deal with on her own, while Emperor has 4 on his hands from the trap and the speed down that he inflicts from his beckoning, his first skill's trap. So he doesn't really mesh too well with other debuffers, but if you can find him fitting with a certain character specifically, then go ahead and by all means do it. You're definitely not going to be running him alongside of a character who we just got, like Yuffie, who she applies 6 debuffs all on her own. 5 from her second skill, I don't need this, and a new one from her EX, which we'll talk about when we get there. But she applies 6 debuffs on her own. Yuffie should be the only character you're running on the team as the designated debuffer. So you just want to make sure you're building your team comps properly, and you are not, bringing him alongside of characters that diminish what he can do, or he's going to be diminishing what they can do, I should say, because all of his debuffs are free. But with also that being said, he has versatility in his kit because he also helps stop bosses that like to go Super Saiyan every fucking 5 seconds and slap on buffs out the ass. Because his debuffs are framed, so he will push off buffs, or he will prevent buffs from coming on if they're trying to apply too many. So yeah, the Emperor is great, and I can understand why a lot of people are skipping him right now, because apparently our global first is next. And I can understand that heavily. I can. I will say this, however, to finish off the Emperor's verdict. He is important. If you are choosing to skip, it's perfectly understandable. But it is important to keep that in mind. If you are in high need of a magical DPS unit, I do firmly believe that you should pull for the Emperor. And if you aren't pulling for the Emperor, and you are choosing to save for whatever reason specifically, but you don't have Rosa, who is still alive right now, you should be going to get fucking Rosa. I don't care who this global first is. It could be Spiritus himself coming out onto the battlefield, and he's like a one-hit KO god. Rosa is absolutely one of the most important characters that we have live currently at the moment, and I do believe you should definitely go get Rosa if you do not have her already. But that is my personal opinion. If you are saving specifically for the global first, I hope it is a character that you are not going to be disappointed with, and that you are genuinely going to be happy with and pull for regardless. That is all I'm going to say. So make your own verdicts there, guys. But 100%, I do believe the Emperor is important. Now let's go ahead and talk about his unfortunate situation of a banner main. Now I say this because Firion did not get an additional rework that he oh so desperately needs for the Chaos era. The rework that he got way back when on the Summer Bash banner alongside of Cloud was perfect for Firion at the time, because we were still at the end of the EX era, and we were transitioning into the Cosmos era, and I still use him for the Cosmos era almost all the time. Firion was a wonder, and not to say that he's not a wonder now, it's just the HP requirements are really detrimental to his kit, especially when we're going up against a lot of these bosses that like to sit there and toss out HP attacks like they just pulled out those dual guns and fucking shooting off laser beams every 5 seconds because they have made some massive enhancements to those dual pistols and just keep fucking firing. Like these bosses we have currently for the Emperor's event. They're firing off HP attacks with lasers all the time. And that hurts. It hurts a lot. Especially when Firion's HP gets below 50%, he is practically unusable. You have to waste turns using his abilities or using his only 2 usages of C65 to get his HP above 50%. But even then,
You lose out on the aura that he gets with the C58 that has to be above 80%. And that's a pretty powerful aura that helps out the party a lot. See, his attack still doesn't overflow. It does a lot of damage and is good brave battery, but it still doesn't overflow. Blood Weapon has 150% overflow, but you need to use it while he's almost at max brave because the potencies are rather low. While the healing is impressive, the potencies are low. The HP attack plus that he gets from his EX plus, all passes considered, because I do think you need to 3 out of 3 him if you are going to build him, is just a brave raise, and we know how much I hate those. Even though it overflows up to 120% with the brave gain, it's not great, and I hate it a lot. I wish it was at least a hit tossed in there like Tifa's. But I digress. His EX plus is actually a wonder for him at the very least. Weapon Master's overall hits on both targets is increased to 8. Overflows up to 150%. He gets access to a new frame buff that gives him a brave regen based off of 60% of his initial brave, and further raising his attack stat. And Weapon Master will actually now heal him, so he has more opportunities to heal. But even still, even though he has all this healing at his disposal, if he by any means gets below 50%, you're wasting weak turns to get him back above 50% HP. And if you don't have a designated healer, like, for example, I would say Rosa is technically a designated healer, HP regen in the form of Kate Sith, Agrius. Y'shtola is, air quote, a designated healer. Her healing is based off of her EX, which can be unreliable at times depending on how you're using her EX, because it does still have a relatively slow recharge rate. So the problem with Firion is, while yes, the small upgrades that he did get for his EX plus did make him usable for Chaos Era, he does not have C65 that doesn't waste a turn, doesn't lose out on any damage. It's a 2-hit single target HP attack that recovers HP based off the damage dealt. It's a great way to actually get him back up to, you know, where he should be in the forms of his HP, but it's just not serviceable enough. The fact that you have to micromanage him at all times, and he's still not doing like the greatest damage a DPS unit should. We have plenty of DPS units right now who just outscale him in damage already, so you're basically keeping him above 50% HP for him to still be lackluster in the damage department compared to other DPS characters that we have currently, and that we're going to have coming out literally in the next month, because we have some fucking boss units coming out in the forms of DPS next month. I'm overall disappointed with the fact, just solely with the fact that Firion did not get an additional rework. All he really needed is just some extra damage on Blood Weapon and overflow on Season Attack, and a better HP attack plus. Well, that's all he really needed, and I feel like Firion would have had importance in of his own, and drop the HP requirements, just not entirely, but just reduce the amount of HP that he needs to stay above. 50% to 30%, 80% to 50%. Bam. Fine. That's serviceable. That's workable. But as it stands now, Firion, unfortunately, is not important for Chaos Era. Can you use him? Can you build him? Sure, absolutely. But he's just not all that important for the Chaos Era. He's not doing anything all that impressive, and it's kind of a chore to micromanage him and keep him above 50% HP to make sure he's actually utilizing his damage to the fullest. He is a 3 out of 3 character if you do choose to build him up. If Firion is a favorite of yours, by all means, go ahead and try and scoop him up if you can. But I definitely would say there will be a better time to pull for Firion, and that is when his burst and LD drops in the future. When we get to that era, it has not dropped yet for the JP side of the game, but it is bound to come at some point. I believe that is the best time to actually pull for Firion's gear, because I'm not sure if it actually does return. I could be wrong, so correct me if I am wrong, but I'm not sure if it actually returns from any time between now to the current state that we are on JP. So there's a much better time to pull for Firion's gear in a whole if you don't have it currently. If you are pulling from this banner, you are aiming for Emperor. If you do end up pulling Firion on the side, it's not a waste, but I definitely wouldn't sink the time into him just yet. I'm going to regardless because I like Firion, and if you like Firion, you definitely should regardless as well. But I like Firion. I'm still going to 3 out of 3 him when I get the spare ingots because I've been a little lazy as of late, especially with this hectic week. I've fallen a little bit behind, but I definitely will 3 out of 3 him when I have the extra ability to do so because I'm going to find use for him because I enjoy him. And if you can find use for him too, please by all means go ahead. He's a wonderful character in his own right. There's just a ton of stuff that you have to make sure you're micromanaging with Firion for him to get the job done. And that's pretty much that. So the rough verdict, ending off this video, is the Emperor is important. But if you are choosing not to pull, if you don't have Rosa, go pull for Rosa. But if you were choosing to save for the global first, I understand. I just hope that it is a character that you will enjoy and that you will like. Firion is a no, unfortunately. So going forward, we're going to keep up with this rough summary style going forward with the rest of my videos. I do think it helps me a lot better, and I feel like it suits to me personally a lot better. So if there are certain things that I didn't mention, like some nitty-gritty details that I didn't mention, it's not that I don't believe it's important, it's just I'm highlighting other things to get the idea across about these specific things for these characters. But I feel like I did a pretty good job this time around with describing the Emperor and Firion and like pretty much just kind of like the rough highlights and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Yuffie and Bart are coming up shortly. I'm going to try and have that done this weekend. But they'll be next as I am. Where is she? Look at it. I pulled 40 tickets exactly, and I pulled another copy of it in a multi because I'm a little short on power stones and I needed some stones. So I still have plenty of fucking resources to spare, man. I'm ready for this global first. Let's do it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.